Welcome back to Learning with Merit. Today we're going to talk about variable scope. So variables have scope, which means what part of the program they can be accessed from. They can only be accessed after they have been declared. Variables declared in a class definition, which are called fields, are accessible from the entire class. Variables declared in a method are accessible in that method only. Variables declared inside of a loop or a conditional, we call these control flow statements, are accessible in the loop or conditional block only. So let's look at an example because that makes a lot more sense. So here we have an example. So if a code block is all of the code between the curly braces, code before the variable cannot access it, code after the variable can access it, and then code outside of the curly braces cannot access variables defined inside of the curly braces. So let's look at our different variables here. We have word, which is a string, which is outside of this method here. And this method begins here. So here it begins, here it ends. We have a control flow statement. This is our for. Here it begins and here it ends. All right. And then, of course, we can look at our different scopes. So the scope for word is here all the way down to here. So I can access it here inside the method, here inside the for loop. I can access word anywhere. Now number, however, number scope is a little smaller. Number can only be accessed inside of here. I can't access number up here where word is at. And then spot, you'll see spot right here. Spot scope is just inside this little for loop, so just between these two curly braces. So I can access spot inside here, but not outside inside this other method here. Okay, only inside of the for loop can I access spot. So scope is all about where it's defined and where it can be accessed from. So we want to remember, if we declare it here outside of all these curly braces, I can access down inside all of these. If I declare it here, I can only access it inside the curly braces where it was defined. So a good way to think about this is word, even if we skip all this text, word is defined between that curly brace and that curly brace. So anywhere in between those two curly braces, I can access word. And word's even more special because it's defined inside the class, and because I just left it in default scope, it could be accessed even outside of this class. But if now we look inside here and we see number, number can only be accessed between this curly brace and this curly brace. And then spot can only be accessed between this curly brace and that curly brace. And that's how that works. So number, of course, could be accessed between this curly brace and this one because it's still in between its two. But it can't be accessed outside of that. And that is what variable scope is all about. So make sure that you define your variables in the correct scope. And thank you for watching Learning with Merit.